Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, this is Tiff from Tiffany Mika podcast and welcome to today's episode. How do you stay motivated if the hard work is not paying off yet? How do you do that? Because this is a super frustrating situation to be in, isn't it? Incredibly frustrating. You know, you work hard, but you're still not seeing the results on the scoreboard. The hard work is really not paying off yet. So what do you do? What do you do? Here's some things you might be going through at the moment. You may be screaming your head off. You go and punch a punching bag because you're so frustrated. You may pick fights with people. You get down on yourself. You know, you have all these doubts that start creeping in. You're constantly disappointed. You're really struggling to stay motivated and you don't play well in competition, yet you can crush it in practice because you're doing all the right stuff, but you just don't play well in competition. Some of these things might be going on for you and this is how you're reacting. But what do you do? What do you do when you're in that situation? Do you give up? No way. No, you don't give up. Because you're going to be thrown these situations many, many times throughout your life. And especially right now, you're thinking, oh, this is so hard. Right? But this is going to happen in anything that you do. Because you work really hard. And I get that. But you're seeing very little reward for your effort right now. And I get that too. So then the question that you have to ask is, do you keep grinding it out day after day, living in hope that all that hard work, it's just going to show up and you're going to get the result? Do you do that? Do you keep grinding it out day after day, living in hope that that hard work will pay off, living in hope that it's all going to show up? Well, if you are working hard and it's not paying off, then you know what? It's time to change the approach. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to change the approach. Because I get it. You've got your goal. You know what you want to do. And you're really clear about where you're headed. But what I want you to be thinking about right now while I'm talking to you is that, you know what? The current strategy or the current strategies that you're actually using right now may not be as effective. It's got you to the point to where you are now, but it's not going to help you to go to where you want to go further on, right? Pushing forward. So then the question then becomes this. Are the current strategies, and this is what I want you to ask yourself, okay? Are the current strategies I'm doing working for me? That is getting me the results I'm after? That's the question you've really got to be answering. That is the question you've got to be asking. And then the answer is, if that's no, then you know what it is? It's time to change the strategy. It's time to change the strategies. And I get it. You know, I've been there myself, worked my butt off when I was pursuing my tennis career, absolutely worked and worked and worked. You know, the coaches would say, you know, you're carrying too much weight, or, you know, you've got to be quicker and you've got to do this. Okay, all right, bang, off I went. Worked harder and harder. but nothing was changing. The hard work wasn't paying off. Not on the tennis court, not in competition, not in tournaments, not in matches, not even in games. It wasn't making a difference, the hard work that I was putting in. Little did I know then that it was my strategies were the things that were holding me back, not the vision, right? You've got to have visions, you've got to have big dreams, and you've got to go after them. I love it. I mean, I've got in this high performance mastermind group, there's a lot of high performers in there, there's some athletes in there, and they're talking about their big dreams, and their big dreams be number one in their sport. Number one. Awesome. I love it. I love hearing stories like that. And that's what I want for you too. I want you to have those big dreams, but we've got to turn them into reality. So then if the strategies that you're currently using are not working, then the question then becomes, all right, Tiff, great, you've shared that with me. I'm actually having a look, and you know what? It's got me to this point, but it's not taking me any further. What strategies do I use, Tiff? What do I do? And that's a great question. Always, the very first thing that you should do, and this is my answer to you, the very first thing that you should do is evaluate. Evaluate actually what's going on. And the reason that we do this, the reason that we evaluate about what's going on is to identify two simple things. One is what is working, and the other thing is what is not working. Very simple questions. If you've been following me for a while and listening to these episodes, I talk about that a lot in evaluation. What's working, what's not working. So that's part of it, isn't it? So let's do it this way. I'm going to give you some parts to this. So we're going to go to part one. Now, part one, we're going to answer these questions, okay? Number one is identify what is working. So I want you to list the results you are currently getting. What's working? How are you actually performing? What in your sport's working? What in your life is working? Because you're a human being, you're not just an athlete, a sports person. What's working? Then number two, those things that are working, what are you doing that's producing those results? So if you've got things that are actually working in your sport and in your life right now, write out what you're actually doing that's producing those results, that's working. Okay, we need to know that. We need to have a look, what's working, okay? Number three, identify what is not working. So I want you to list the mistakes, the challenges, the errors that you are actually seeing in what's going on. Sport and life. Identify what is not working, okay? Then number four, what you are doing that's causing the mistakes. What are you doing that's causing the mistakes? Question mark, right? The reasons. What's causing the mistakes? What's causing the errors? What's causing the challenges? What is it? We need to know, right? Evaluate, evaluate, evaluate. Now, the thing is that most athletes won't do this. They're not going to do this. And that's why that they don't ever reach their ultimate potential. I was in that boat. I didn't reach my ultimate potential as a tennis athlete because I didn't know that I could evaluate. Nothing. I just thought that I just had to work harder, right? Very simple. Work harder, work harder. It's like people being busy. They're busy being busy, but they're not getting results. Grinding it out, doing the same thing over and over again, not getting the results. There's a clue. Evaluate, okay? Always the first thing. So these athletes, they think that they have to work harder, and I'll tell you that's not the answer. And I know that's not the answer because I've been there myself. And it's not the answer. It's not the answer just working harder. None of this myth about the harder you work, the luckier you get. The harder you work, the more strategic you are, the luckier you get. So it's not just hard work that's going to pay off. There's other things, other elements that need to be in place as well. So we have to make sure that we evaluate. We have to make sure we reflect and actually go back and go, okay, what's working, what's not working. Very simple, okay? Now we're going to move on to part 2. So in part 2, what we have identified is that what's not working, okay? Because that's what we ideally want to know. We know what's working because we've listed it, so we can still continue those strategies. But what the ones that are not working, this is the question that I want you to ask yourself. How do I improve it? Simple. Another simple question. How do I improve it? So there's things like get help, ask your coach, ask Tiff, that's me, search the internet, read books, athletes that have gone before you that have been successful, model them. The advantage that you have today that I didn't have when I was, a young athlete is that you've got the internet. The internet didn't exist when I was growing up. We didn't have YouTube. We weren't able to just jump on, Google and type in what we wanted and the results appeared. We didn't have that access. We only had books to work from. But there's a lot of athletes that still write books. I've written a book sharing the story of how to reach your potential, right? Athletes share their story, their blueprint on how to reach the potential or what they did. So you've got to find out what they're doing, what's working for them, what has worked for them to be able to create the athlete that they've become. How else do you improve? New drills. Look for new drills. Practice under pressure. Create like a skills test for yourself so that you're constantly testing yourself. So there's some things on how you can improve. Here's another one. Meet with your coach. Ask questions. What do you ask your coach? What do I need to do to improve me as a player? And ask them to be completely honest with you. Take a notebook. Take notes. Do not get emotional about this. Just take notes. How do I improve me as a player? Take notes and then ask them when they're telling you how to improve as a player, okay, how do I do that? How do I improve those areas? If there's areas in which you're weak, how do I get better at those? Ask those questions. Okay? That's what you've got to do. So it's quite simple, isn't it? So if you're, struggling with motivation because the hard work's not paying off, well then we have to do 2 things, don't we? One is ask those 2 simple questions, is what's working and what's not working. So we're evaluating, aren't we? That's simple thing number 1. Simple thing number 2 is, okay, identify what's not working. How do I improve it? How do I improve it? Ask the question. Meet with your coach. Very simple, okay? Because you've come to the point to where you are, but what you have done to this point is not going to get you to where you want to go. It's got you to where you are now. So now the time is to change the strategy, change the strategies, okay? And then move on. So what I've done too is I've developed a free Success Athlete Masterclass for you. Yep, free. It's free video training for you. And we're going to actually go through that. We're actually going to look at what holds you back. We're going to look at how to have more wins in your sport. And we're going to develop some strategies to help you put in place to ensure the hard work pays off. Simple, free training. You'll see me standing there in front of the video camera showing you exactly what you need to be focusing on. Now, if you'd love to get that free training, that Successful Athlete Masterclass, all you need to do is go to Tiffany, Tiffany, Mika, Mika.com tiffanyMika.com/SAM. That's SAM as in Successful Athlete Masterclass. So I'll say that again, tiffanyMika.com/SAM, SAM. If you go to that, you can then register or sign up, put your name and email in. That's all you really got to do. Put your name and email address in, and then you will get the Successful Athlete Masterclass, so that we're continuing the journey forward, accomplishing your big goals in your sport and your life, everything that you want, so that we've got the keys. Okay, I'm going to give you the keys to open the door. So make sure that you go and do that masterclass. Okay, I want to see you there. I really want to see you there. So right now, I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Go over to tiffanyMika.com/SAM. Register right now for the Successful Athlete Masterclass, and I look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Talk soon. Bye for now.